This is the Doom Tomb Podcast, and the next band up is another band that will be at Fuzz Fest this weekend in Dallas-Fort Worth. I think we should just get right into the interview. This is Kyle from the band Ladykiller. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot. I'm an idiot. I didn't start off the recording thing, the whatever it is for the computer. I didn't start that off right away. So you're going to catch it with about 30 seconds or so cut off in the beginning. I apologize, and let's get into this right
now. Recorded Champagne and Cocaine. We kind of realized we did a lot in the studio, guitar-wise and vocal-wise. So about a year ago, last summer, we added a second guitarist who's also vocalist. Danny Rath is his name. And he's been with us, like I said, for about a year and done a lot for helping us out with our live sound. And we're starting to write together. It's been a lot of fun.
So all the songs are coming together pretty quickly, pretty easily for the next release?
We've got, I think, 2 working. We're talking about doing an EP here pretty soon. We just got off tour and kind of went back into writing mode.
Right.
But hopefully sometime early next year, you'll get to hear some new jams from us.
Well, I got to tell you, man, that's a pretty quick turnaround. I mean, you released Champagne and Cocaine in August 14th, 2018. And that's a lot of work, brother.
Yeah, well, we I don't know. It's fun. It's what we like to do, I guess. We just get together and write and have a good time. And when the songs are there, we put them out. Now, we'd like to put something out, but if it's not panning out, we're not going to force it. We're not going to put crap out there for everybody. We're going to make sure it's good.
Right.
So. Well, we will take our time if it's not working.
Now, I just got a few questions for you before we get into some of the music and this Fuzz Fest thing. First off, apparently, I'm too old and I'm not quite getting it. I know White Claw is law, and I know there's a White Claw phenomenon happening right now. I've tried it. I don't get it. Help me explain. Explain this, please.
Well, it's funny. We actually started drinking that on tour several years ago.
Right.
And just because it's a lot easier when it's, say, warm. Warm van beers sucks,
Exactly.
and beer gets you, pretty heavy and bloated. But, we may or may not be alcoholics. We're all in our 30s, and it's got, less carbs and more alcohol, so it's kind of really great. It's drinkable and it gets you drunk.
Yeah, so it's a good drinking beer if you're going to the gym. You keep your carbs
exactly.
low. Fair enough. I know. I'm sure they're buddies of yours. I saw you do a couple dates with them, or at least a date. Was the guys in Wizard?
Yeah, we did. We did a show with them in, I guess it was a year ago, actually. Now that you mention it, it was our first show with Danny Rath on second guitar.
Right.
We played with Wizard last July.
And they're heading across the United States right now, and I think everybody should honestly hide their White Claws because they're going to drink them all.
Between us and them, man, I tell you, everyone, we're constantly getting tagged and stuff sent to us and posted. And like I said, we've been drinking that stuff for years, but when the memes happened, we love memes. So we just kind of jumped on it ourselves. And, I don't know, it's something fun, and it gives us, to be completely honest, it gives us, a little bit of content that is relatable without just beating people over the head with our songs and merch.
Right.
It kind of brings us down into a more personable level. And because nobody wants to see the same show flyers all the time, but when we're just out here having fun and showing that we're, you know, just basic white girls like everyone else, then it's a lot of fun, you know.
And you're doing it right, you know. I mean, just to get off of, you know, on the other side of the track, it's like you're putting out content and it's quality, it's inviting people in, and I think that's important.
Yeah, we're people, you know, and we, as much as I, you know, my whole life I've always wanted to be a rock star, and hopefully one day I will be. Like,
nice.
I'd rather just have fun, you know. Like, we're all kind of friends. We're in a small community, you know, and it's cool to know what your buddies are out doing and having fun and joking around, and that's it's kind of a great way to keep in touch. Right. With everyone, you know, especially when something like White Claw happens, because it's so many of us enjoy it, and it's just kind of a fun thing that has brought all these, you know, long-haired metalheads together over something so goofy, but
it works.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? Something that we were kind of talking about before we hit the record, which I actually hit the record a little late, so you'll hear it when you hear it. But just as idea, like, so I was at a show last night, and the band that was coming through here was Mazoa, and they said to me, "Oh, this is so great that you get to see this band, and this band, because they reside in Arizona, where I am."
Uh-huh.
And I thought the same thing about you guys when you were telling me who is in your practice space. Are you shitting me?
Yeah. So our roommates, our studio mates, our Destroyer of Light, they've been our homies from the beginning. Actually, our drummer lives with their drummer, and you know, Austin's a small town, so Destroyer of Light's in our room. Witch Criers across the hall, Eagle Claws down the hall from us. You know, we're all James from Montaluna sang some guest vocals on Champagne and Cocaine. Like, we're a small little community that, you know, we all kind of support each other, and the more we all do, the more it kind of like encourages all of us. You know, it's Austin's a cool place. It's not very competitive.
Right.
We all just kind of work together and build each other up, and I said we're all on each other's albums and in each other's music videos, and it's a fun place. We're kind of very, very blessed.
It's like a together we stand kind of thing, you know. And I was out to Austin a while ago for Stoner Days Fest by Damon Caraway, and I know he's got another fest coming up. And I was at Texas Mist.
Yeah.
What an unbelievably large place that is.
Yeah. We played there once quite a few years ago, and we've not been back.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do remember it being very big.
Well, let me ask you this. Where do you guys usually play?
We usually play at the Lost Well.
Yes.
That's kind of like the metal. That's our home. That's the metal bar here.
Right.
They're fortunate enough to get a lot of big names. Actually, we've played there with Mondo Generators. St. Vitus has played there a few times. Cough. That's where a lot of big tours stop, and a lot of that it's not. Lost Well's not a big venue. It's because of who works there.
Sure.
Marcello, who owns the place, and Dusty Brooks, who helps run Terror Fest. They do a lot of booking and communicating, and are able to get those kind of high profile acts there. So we're fortunate to be able to share stages. You know, even if we're not on the same bill, we get to at least be on the same stage that a lot of people we look up to get to play on as well. So
totally.
Well, there's a handful of other places around town, but that is the main. That's kind of the main metal spot, hard rock spot. Played there more than anywhere else in town.
Kyle, you're doing my work for me, because that was going to be my next question: is where do you guys play? So yeah, the Lost Well. If I don't see that in my news feed every single day, I know there's something wrong. You know?
Yeah, it's we even, I mean, hell, I hang out there when there's not shows, you know, because it's cold and dark and full of old motorcycle parts, and that just makes me feel right at home. So
there you go. And you know what? It's a good thing too that you are, because there's something about just bands in general. Just go out to if you're in the area and there's shows that you like, just go. It feeds the machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was actually having that conversation with someone last night, that it's fun, but it's also, it's business. It's networking. Like, by going out, you know, and seeing bands, and either you see someone new or you see someone you haven't gotten to see in a while, and just talking to people and finding new people to play with, new people to collaborate with, like keeping up what's going on, supporting is just a huge thing. I love to see my friends, you know, at my shows, and I love to see my friends play. So sometimes, you know, being in Austin, it can almost be a bit much because there's shows going on 7 days a week, and everyone does kind of need sleep from time to time.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have. Yeah.
You know, for the most part, it's, you know, there's always something to do, and there's always someone to see and someone to talk to, and you never know who you're going to end up working with. So going out it's fun, it's business, and it's great to, you know, just kind of living the dream in so many ways, you know?
Yeah, being a rock star.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Now, do you mind, can we, like, here's the thing. I understand that sometimes songs are personal, but Champagne and Cocaine, I got to talk about a couple of these tracks, and if you have anything you want to add about the tracks, would that be cool?
Sure.
All right. Let's start off with the first track, Nothing to Prove. Can you give me like a sentence about it, or tell me something about how it got created?
Yeah, so Nothing to Prove, kind of the idea behind that one is when you're with a significant other and you're kind of maybe unsure,
right?
You know, or if I guess in this case your significant other's unsure, you know, and saying, do you love me? Do you love me? And my answer to that, which that song kind of explains in my words, is I love you. Stop asking me. You know, you got nothing to prove. You don't have to prove yourself to me anymore or at all. Like, I just love you, and that's what it is. You know, I think, I don't know if that's a universal feeling, but that was just kind of my way of saying, like, you know, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We got this.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Oh, shit. You know, as I was saying it, I hope a little bit of my New York didn't come out. What can you tell me about Big Time Star?
So Big Time Star, that one is our, we had the idea, I'm always fascinated with songs about songs.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And we wanted to write our take of a song on a song, kind of our rock and roll experience. You know, Kiss has tons of songs about what it's like to be in a rock and roll band.
Absolutely.
And so do Scorpions and Priest, and, you know, that's all the stuff that we love. And it's like, well, we want to do that, but we haven't made it, you know, we're not Kiss yet. So in Big Time Star, kind of the hook, or the punchline, I should say, is I'll never be a big time star. It's about playing for empty crowds and not being able to sell our t-shirts, and it's all tongue in cheek. And at the end of it, kind of the little coda at the end, we put our spin on Drake lyrics. Actually, we all are pretty into hip hop. We took our spin on Drake lyrics, and instead of saying started at the bottom, now we're here, we tell everyone we started at the bottom and we're still at the bottom.
Still here.
We started at the bottom and we're still at the bottom. And it's just our fun little tongue-in-cheek, you know, song about being in a band, and we it was a fun one. We all sat down together and wrote the lyrics like, well, you remember that one time, and you remember that one time, well, how do we put that in the song, you know?
That's great.
So that's that one, yeah.
I love it. And you know what? I know my fiance is going to kick me in the ass for saying this, but I don't know why I feel so stupid even saying this, but I got to let it out. So that the Drake song started at the bottom.
Yeah.
I can't help it, but you know, my next word is diarrhea. So because I mean, I started at the bottom, diarrhea. I can't. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but all I got is diarrhea. And I know
hilarious.
It's totally stupid. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
No, that's hilarious.
What can you tell me about Too Much?
Too Much. Too Much was we all party, and we have seen people party too much, and we have, you know, we're all guilty of that. You know, you go on a bender for a weekend after a good run of shows, and you're like, whoa, dude, I gotta like drink some Gatorade, like I gotta go to work on Monday, you know, get it back together.
Stop the haze.
Exactly, like, you know, pump the brakes for a little bit. So
good.
That's kind of what Too Much. Too much is you say it's not enough. I say it's much too much. And after we wrote that song, I was aware that, because I wanted to say much too much because it's in a UFO song and I love UFO. But after we wrote that song, I realized how many songs out there actually say much too much somewhere. And I don't know, I kind of felt like I might have written a classic. I don't know. We had a lot of fun writing that one together. There's a lot of little nuggets and odes to things that we like. I mentioned Drake earlier. In Too Much, we say you're looking shife and feeling funky, and those are actually from Pimp C, from UGK. Looking shife is.
Wow, you guys go pretty deep.
We do. I mean, it's, you know, we're from Texas, and Houston's right down the road, so we're all big into the Houston stuff. But
right.
And there's actually, like, we reference memes in that song. Like, we just had a lot, again, collaborating on those lyrics, having a good time writing that one. Musically, we touched on some Priest, we touched on some Alice in Chains, just kind of went all over and had a great time with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you got it. What can you tell me about Rat King?
Rat King that's actually the first song we wrote with Chad in the band.
Right.
We had a different bass player on our first album, and Chad and I sat down. We kind of had the idea, and I met him one night, and we wrote the lyrics to Rat King in the span of one beer. It just came out.
And sometimes those are the best songs, when it just appears. Yeah,
and there were very very minimal changes that were made to it in the end. Ultimately, like, we had like a few too many words. I had to, you know, just pull some things out to make the melodies flow a little better. But
yeah,
that's one that we wrote about. This is gonna sound so dumb, but about fuckboys.
Hey, I love it.
You know, we're in Austin, and everyone wants to be a rock star, even when they've got nothing. And we would watch a lot of girls that we're friends with, like, kind of hook up with dudes that we knew would, you know, maybe not be the best guy, you know.
You're putting words very kindly, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we we see our friends hook up with somebody. And it's like, no, that guy's dumb. He's gonna
he's a fuck boy.
He's gonna take advantage. He's just gonna want you to buy him dinner. He's gonna want to borrow your car. So we just it's just observation. We write a lot of observational songs,
right?
And a lot of to use Chad's term, warning songs, which is something we kind of got from that one band, Black Sabbath.
Those people.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I think isn't there's a guy like Ozzy Iommi or something in there? Or something?
Yeah, I think so. The old man Butler, I think. But
that's it. I heard of that.
Between them and Alice in Chains and Guns N' Roses, like a lot of those bands write, despite what their reputations are, they write a lot of songs about, whoa, watch out. You're going too far. Even if their reputations are for going too far. Too much is kind of our warning about drugs and partying, and Rat King is kind of our warning about watching yourself from a social aspect and maybe not falling in love too quickly. But the chorus is, who cares? Yeah. You're having fun, who cares? But I'm going to tell you.
I love it. What can you tell me about Diamonds?
Diamonds was our attempt at writing something a little more metal.
Right.
Because we are very kind of cock rock, party rock, and we wanted to try our hand at doing something maybe more along the lines of Diamond Head. That's our new wave of British heavy metal approach. Was Diamonds.
Did I see that Diamond Head has a new release coming out?
I think I saw that as well.
I thought I did.
They were here last year, and none of us got to see them because we were playing in Dallas on the same night. But I heard it was a great show. I've heard they still got it. So that was, and in the studios, Diamonds is a great example of, in the studio, I got to do a bunch of guitar harmonies.
Right.
And then went to play it live, and we had played it live, but then in the studio and listening back to the mixes, got so used to the harmonies that we go to play it live again. It's like, this sucks. We approached Danny Rath, who we knew from projects that he's been in and whatnot around town. And when he came out to his first time, come out, he just came out and hung out. We didn't even jam anything. We just played him some songs and we talked, and just realized it was a great fit. And once we got to work on the harmonies together, it's like, wow, suddenly the song's like a ton of fun. That's the start of our set, actually, is Diamonds. It's a great up tempo opener.
It gets it rocking.
Had a lot of fun with. So
and I love it. One of the terms that I saw was Camaro rock. I love that.
That was one of our really early hashtags when we started. Our original bass player and I both rode motorcycles,
right?
And we were playing a lot of biker rallies and chop shops, garages and whatnot, and it just kind of fit, and I can't remember if one of us came up with Camaro rock or what, but where I usually hear that is from our buddies in Bridge Farmers. If you're familiar with them, another dude band from Austin.
I apologize, but let me write that up. Bridge Farmers?
Bridge Farmers, yeah. They're look them up. They're amazing. They're the ones, when we said Camaro rock, they kind of latched onto it. And Camaro rocks. So they've actually kept that alive as we've kind of, moved on to different hashtags. So, but yeah, it's just top down cruising in your IROC,
IROC Z, baby.
Yeah.
Take the T-tops off, you're set.
Yeah, man.
$40 blues, what can you tell me?
So $40 blues, I don't know if I want to really tell the story of that song on like a public space.
That's okay.
Basically, that was our song about, we were on our Only 17 tour.
Right.
We went on one tour in 2017, so we called it our Only 17 tour. Wink, wink.
I saw that, and I was going back on social media. I saw somebody hugging the pillow right there, and like, or the not the pillow, the stuffed animal there.
So that was actually at my mom's house. We were.
Oh my God! I hope the story's not there.
No. When we played in Mississippi, we actually played about an hour north of my mom's house, and she came to the show an hour north, and then after the show we drove back down an hour south to my mom's house, where she waited up with us with the door unlocked. We got in at 4:00 in the morning, and of course all the guys were running around looking at all the pictures of the young me, and that was actually Jeff Klein, who was in Destroyer of Light and was in Greenbeard. He was our roadie for that tour, and that's him hugging that stuffed animal. But
that was awesome.
The next night, actually, we were in Houston, and we were attempting to use merch sale money to buy
stuff,
recreational things.
That's all you gotta say. That's what it's about, man.
We got ripped off. And, so that's kind of what, like, everything in that song, driving all night, waking up in a hotel. I was asleep. We woke up. Right. I literally didn't know where we were. We're at a hotel at 6:00 in the morning. We didn't make any money the night before. And we spent T-shirt money on something that we did not get a return for our investment, shall we say?
You know what? And I appreciate you saying that. So
we had the $40 blues.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun writing that. We did a lot of different things that we actually don't play that song live. Just
really,
for whatever reason, it just never made it into the set. But we had so much fun recording it, and there's a lot of little nuggets and odes to things that we love. That song's a great example of us pulling a lot of influences to kind of call myself out when I actually sing the line blues in that song. It's actually lifted directly from an Elton John song. And we just, but that's how we write. We take a little bit of this, we take a little bit of that, and we put it all together, and we shake it up, and we give you the new wave of Texas heavy metal.
I love it. I love it. And look, I'm gonna make just a quick suggestion. I say put it in there, have a little rap on stage, say, look, you can figure it out if you listen to the lyrics, and by the way, tips are accepted at the merch table, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, well, for a long time we had a tip jar that said tips are drugs, but nobody ever put anything in it. Like, they would just put like their own stickers. I'm like, well, you guys suck. But
do you hear that, Ladykiller fans out there? You got to get out to a fucking show, and you got to support these guys. They're putting their hearts out, and this is the thanks they get. They show them some love, man. Show them some green, so to speak.
We do have really, really good fans that support us, and where they wear the shirts out, and they post pictures of in their shirts. Like, we get we don't have the most fans in the world, but the fans that we have are
quality.
We have some diehard fans that we love to death, and we couldn't do anything that we do without the people that we've had supporting us.
And that's awesome,
in the last 4 years. So,
I mean, shit, I don't know. What's the guy? There's a guy on YouTube that's a drummer, Ryan something.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. He does a lot of different, like, funny stuff about music, and he did this the thing where he was at a concert venue, and he went up to somebody that was wearing a concert T-shirt or a band T-shirt and said, "Can you name one song? Name one song from that band." And so many people couldn't even name it. So you have the true fans. You have the diehards. You have the people that are going to go to your shows. They're going to sweat right next to you, and they're going to get down and dirty and grab some Lone Stars after.
One of the best feelings that I've experienced playing is looking out and seeing people that I don't know personally singing along to our original songs, and it's heartwarming, you know. Like, I don't want to say I start tearing up, but yeah, I might start tearing up. It's just really cool. It's like, wow, like, you know, because I'm not in it for anybody else,
right?
You know, like we're doing this for us because we love to do it, but we also want to make something that people enjoy, and to know that people enjoy it is just amazing. That's the greatest feeling in the world. Absolutely.
And you own in the stage. Now, you said just recently that you know, when you see somebody singing your words or your stuff, original material, does that mean you throw any covers in your set?
So we have done 1.5 covers.
1.5. Okay.
Aside from, we usually sound check with something. We'll learn a chorus of a song and we'll sound check with it. Just something that we can all be playing and all be singing, so we can get levels, and it kind of teases the audience into coming in and checking us out. When we released Champagne and Cocaine on CD, we in the middle of the song that was last in the set, in the middle of Rolling Thunder, which is on our first album, Greatest Hits, in the middle of Rolling Thunder, where there's a snare hit and a break before a guitar solo, we stopped and I said a few words and said, so this, you know, we just want to thank everyone for being here, and this one's all for you. And we did the first verse and 6 choruses of Garth Brooks' Friends in Low Places.
I love it. That's awesome.
We stopped. We did it a cappella. Even Hoop, our drummer, sang, and the whole Lost Well was like, holy shit, you guys. And everyone's singing along, and we did an amped up chorus of it, and we went right back into the song and finished our set. And that was fun. And then we decided we wanted to do an actual cover. And my take on covers is, if you're going to do a cover, your mom should know it.
Right.
Because B-sides are great, and we all have our heroes, and that's great if you want to record it and put it on your album.
Sure.
But if you're going to do a cover live, like, hook me in, you know, give me something that I like, you know, get the audience interested in something so completely classic, you know, that they want to stick around and acknowledge the rest of your material. So all summer we've had Toto Hold the Line in our set.
Nice.
Which people that could give 2 shits less about our original material hear us start that song off and they're like, what? Because it's kind of out of left field in a lot of ways.
And it's not Africa.
And actually, we actually tried learning Africa, and it's so hard without keys.
Right.
But yeah, so that's that's so far that's the only cover we've done. We're kind of working on maybe a couple other ones right now because it's just always good to have something like that in the set to throw in and hype people up. So.
Oh man, that sounds great. So anybody going to the show, you never know when a new cover might bust out. So you got to get your asses out there. What can you tell me about High Class Lady?
High Class Lady is that's another one that Chad and I wrote together. Kind of tongue in cheek about settling down, and saying, been out here drinking beer and being a rock star and partying, and I want like a high class lady and an adult woman, a partner.
Right.
But it's just classy. It's not. The punchline is that nothing was really given up. We've just switched whiskey and beer to champagne and cocaine. Kind of a little ZZ Top element to that.
Definitely.
Also that, champagne and cocaine itself is a tribute to, actually I've mentioned both of them, to Pimp C and Elton John. Mm-hmm. That's our kind of our gangster rap nod, but also our classiness, because we're classy as fuck.
Yeah, I was going to say, who is the classiest as fuck?
Who?
In your band?
In our band?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Y'all look like you're throwing down.
We would probably all try to claim that title. Let's see, Danny's the pretty one. Chad's probably the most adult, so he might have to get that title. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. That's kind of just classy as fuck is our. It's our way of being classy and trashy at the same time. I love $6 bottles of champagne.
Right.
So, it's like you're classy because it's champagne, but at the same time, it's like, it ain't shit, dude. It's cheaper than beer. But
that mums will leave a headache like no other.
Yeah. But yeah, that song, Chad and I wrote it together. We actually trade lyrics back and forth on it. The idea was to do a kind of a Gene and Paul thing. And I think we pulled that off really well. I sing and then he sings, then I sing and then he sings, kind of call and response. Also, in some ways, with that kind of the chug that riff has, might be the most stonery of anything on Champagne, the album.
Yeah, I would say that. I would totally go with that, dude.
Almost has like that chug. Always kind of reminds me of Mothership a little bit. But whatever. They're Bud Czars. Never ripped them off, but
and they're blowing up. Oh, God, they're blowing up.
Yeah.
And finally, what can you tell me about the longest track, Endless Nights?
So, Endless Nights, as far as I know, and I'm just going to go ahead and claim it, is the only power ballad ever written to a motorcycle.
Oh, I see.
I actually, a few years ago, I built a really rad Harley chopper that I started from stock and built up into something that I loved that also just kind of like was a big pain in the ass because it's a Harley chopper, and it's going to break all the time. And
right.
I sold it to record Champagne and Cocaine. I sold the bike to record the song about selling the bike. A little bit of meta there.
Yeah.
But I wrote that song to kind of be, that's the only one that I'll really claim like full writing credit for, like, because we're a very collaborative band. But with that one, I actually sat down by myself, with GarageBand, like doing demos and demos and demos. And we played it for the first time as a band the night before we went in the studio.
Wow.
And it was actually the easiest song to record.
Maybe because it's so fresh, or it's just, it just everything lined up.
Just, yeah, stars aligned. Like I recorded the last thing we recorded on the album was the big solo at the end of that, and I did it at midnight under a full moon the day before I got to see my hero Michael Schenker. Like everything just fucking, lined up. But yeah, I kind of wrote that one to sound universal,
right?
And sound kind of like, like it's about a woman, because nobody wants to hear you singing about fucking carburetors. But
yeah, that would be a little painful.
Yeah, that whole line, like, now you're with someone else. That's because I sold the bike. But yeah, we had, that's our power ballad. It's fun. Like, got us thinking about a lot of other directions that we could go with it, in the future.
Right.
So.
And
yeah.
you're on, that release came out on Rolling Thunder Records?
Yes.
And, yeah, I gotta check them out, man. Are they Texas based, or?
Yeah, they're Texas based. They're us.
Oh, those people right there. Well, no shit.
For the most part,
yeah.
Rolling Thunder Records is me and my iPhone.
Yes. Well, you know what? Hey, every pimp starts somewhere,
Exactly. We shopped this around. So when we put out Greatest Hits, we threw it out on Rolling Thunder Records. Rolling Thunder was the last song on our first album, and that's just what we slapped on it, And then we started shopping this album, started shopping Champagne and Cocaine around to different labels, and
right.
Some weren't interested, and some were, just booked up. There's a lot of great acts, not just in the States, but around the world right now, and all the little independent labels are busy, which is great for everybody. But the ones that were interested were a little too booked out, and we were like, well, we want to get this out, get it rolling. So we just did it ourselves. Full
DIY, man.
We drew up a logo, bought the website domain, filed business with the county, and said we're going to be a label. And for now, it just exists for us. We actually, not only have we pressed CDs and put ourselves on Spotify and whatnot, but we pressed vinyl, and we released vinyl earlier this year in May.
Right.
So, Rolling Thunder Records is me, my phone, and crates of records in my living room, which you can order at rollingthunderrecords.com, which is linked through our Facebook page and through our Instagram. And I want to say ladykiller69.com. I want to say the merch page to that might link to Rolling Thunder. Don't let me wrap myself out for not having done the website updates I need to do.
That's okay.
But
I'm looking right now. I'm trying to find everything right now.
Yeah, you can order that, and we'll pack it up, and we'll box it up, and we'll send it out. But yeah, that's us. Hopefully one day, we would love to put out other bands and make this a real thing, because it's while I kind of handle the day-to-day business,
right?
Not that there's much, month-to-month business. It is something that we all do together, and we all kind of make decisions about together, and we all kind of invest in together, and it's our little thing. Some bands are t-shirt companies on the side, and we kind of have a dream of making Rolling Thunder be an actual label that we can do things for other small bands like ourselves, you know?
Yeah, and that's awesome. Dream it, achieve it, brother. You know, it's like, I see people come through town all the time, and they're doing this project, that project, and you're right. It's some of it ties into music, some of it honestly doesn't. But you know, just you're hustling, and that's a great thing. So you're nailing it. That's you know, we just, like you said, dream and achieve. So that's it. So before we go, let's talk a little bit about this Fuzz Fest, Dallas-Fort Worth, 2019. Is it? Who are you looking to see?
Well, I'm looking, and I have to look back at the schedule. I'm not sure if we're playing the same day or not. I hope we are.
I'll tell you.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Diesel Beast.
They're on the 30th.
Oh, so they're the day before, and we won't actually be there. They actually played the CD release for Champagne and Cocaine. And
oh, really?
They're rad. I'm sure even if we don't get to see them play, it'll be nice to hang out with those guys again. Stone Machine Electric.
They're right before. Well, you got Terminus before you, and then Stone Machine Electric.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in quite a few years. Actually, when I last saw them, I don't know, 7 years ago or something, they were a 3-piece. I don't know how long that lasted. I think they're a 2-piece again, but don't see them much. But they're one of those bands that we've become good internet buddies with.
Right.
Always commenting and liking and tagging and memeing together.
Sure.
So it'll be cool to see them. And honestly, like, I'm really just looking forward to meeting a lot of these bands, because a lot of these bands, like, I'm not familiar with, but we have the lady who set it up, Sarah Circling.
Yeah.
She created a Facebook Messenger thread that has representatives from all the bands, and so for months now, we've all been chatting, and sometimes it takes a sidetrack into jokes and memes. But while I don't know a lot of these other band members,
right,
we've kind of become friends just through this Fuzz Fest thread that we have. So
That's
it'll be
awesome.
really cool to meet people in person. It'd be cool to meet Sarah in person, actually, because I haven't met her before. So it'll be really exciting on that level.
That would be killer. And I don't even know if I can grab a ticket. If I can grab a cheap flight out, I wouldn't mind stepping over there and seeing what's shaking.
It's also really cool because it's at Division Brewing in Arlington. It moved venues a couple times. We kind of got shuffled around, but we finally landed at Division Brewing, and we've played there before. We played there on our Only 17 tour, and it's just the coolest place. There was some miscommunication when we went on tour a couple years ago.
Right.
And we were booked for a day to play at Division on a day that they weren't open. But when they got the flyers that we mailed them, they decided to just go ahead and open so that we could have our show. And,
that's awesome.
So I was like, they've got me hooked for life for that. And so when Fuzz Fest got moved to Division, I was incredibly stoked. They have hosted a lot of heavy festivals there, and they support the music, they support the bands, and it's going to be a really good home for Fuzz Fest.
Absolutely. And you know what, Kyle, I wanted to thank you so much for giving me this amount of time. I apologize. I thank you also because for those that didn't know, because you don't know, I was doing another interview before this. I ran late. I now am running late again, but that's okay. I got a little break so I can go walk the dog and all that crap. But thank you so much, Kyle. Now, so you said,
yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. You can go to Bandcamp and find you. And what's your full website again?
Ladykiller69.com.
Okay.
And from there, there's links to Bandcamp, Spotify, links to our merch page. I think Facebook and Instagram is linked in there. We're relatively easy to find. Ladykiller69 will usually bring us up, whatever variations we have.
Just follow the claw.
Clawed up, not flawed up. That's the one we've adopted. But
Ladykiller are the new wave of Texas heavy metal. So if you haven't checked them out yet, get your asses to a fucking show, please. I preach this all the time, every day, all day. Get out there, support this scene, or we won't have one.
Yes, absolutely.
Kyle, thanks a bunch, brother. And can you stick
Chris.
around for just a minute after?
Okay.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Kyle. And let's get into a track from Ladykiller that he chose. He considers it more of a deeper cut, $40 Blues off their latest release. Check this out.
Wednesday night in Houston, will she ever
Dallas-Fort Worth, Fuzz Fest. Don't forget, you could still get some tickets to this event. I have a few more interviews with some of the bands that will be on stage. Great stuff, man. Thank you, everybody that we contacted and took out the time to do the interviews. We really, really appreciate it. I hope to see you at some of those shows soon. And don't forget to stay heavy.